I am your host Salim bin Muhammad Rafi, and here is my YouTube channel Zamir Universal. What is the planning for day after the brutality, this cruelty, this war criminal who has played havoc with Gaza, and it is continuing, and you are finding the mass graves now in both in central Gaza, in northern Gaza, and also in Rafah. Wherever these beasts and pigs go, you find that the human beings have no place to exist, and especially who are helpless, who have no arms, who are women and children. Now, to spare these war criminals will be the biggest sin the society could do in the 20th century. Now, but those Nuremberg trials and the punishment, right or wrong, because there is a big controversy if there was a Holocaust. There were only few thousand people killed, and they made a big, mountain out of a mole. And they've done the same thing with October the 7th. If you look at it, they killed their own people. More out of these 1,200, more than 900 were killed by the Israeli army herself on the orders of Natenyahu. He said no car should move and no car should go back into the Gaza. Meaning thereby, it does not matter whether it was a civilian is driving or if there is a hostage in it or were there Hamas, shoot them and kill them. And any house, if there is any movement, and most of the houses belong to the Israelis. So what I think the Supreme Court of, if there is any Supreme Court functioning in Israel, which is an apartheid state, should really arrest him immediately and fix the responsibility and punish him and put him behind the bars. Apart from his corruption, that's the punishment he must be given. Now here we come to that he's already lost the war in Gaza, and now he's returning back Rafah border or Pennsylvania, which is a corridor between Egypt and Gaza, back to, when it's withdrawing its forces, it's returning it back to Egypt so that it can have concessions and the Camp David Accord alive again. What is the use? What did he gain? And now he can't travel because there are arrests, warrants for him. Now he cannot even walk, sleep, and he takes sleeping pills, I'm sure, all the time, antidepressants all the time. And like Ariel Sharon, whose dead body decayed and liquefied, and there was a smell throughout the hospital surroundings, miles and miles, and they had to bury him. And this man is also never ever going to have a natural death. Anytime he can be assassinated, and even if after assassination he won't be buried. People would like to preserve his dead body so that it liquefies and there is nothing left but the bones. Because it's no way that he will go unpunished for all the crimes he has committed against the children. And look at the whole total habitat of the Gaza destroyed by this man. And when I say this man, and of course, and the likes of him, and they all should be punished. And if you just hang 4 of them, then I think you will see that the rest will have some moderation. There is another bald-headed, bloody beast, a pig. He says, I don't want you people to sympathize with us or have pity. He wants you to fear them. Bloody hell, who are you? Are you an animal? Why should any human being should worry you? They will strangulate your neck and your bald head, they will beat it till your grey matter, every piece of your brain comes out from your nose and eyes and your mouth and from your behind. I don't know sort of a pride and you people carry with you. And who are you? And what kind of people? You can't be human beings. Now, I as a historian feel that you cannot, this is not a race of human beings. You are something between the primates and animals. And I cannot put you in this monkeys, I cannot put you in fish, I cannot put you in turtles. You are a species, you are bombies. And so either you commit suicide or go back into the ocean and die there, or get out of this before they now throw you out. And I think that good and the right punishment for you is that the whole of Tel Aviv, the whole of your coastline, and all the cities, all your roads, all your hospitals, all your army barracks, everything, airports, they must be flattened, just what you have done to Gaza. That is the right and the punishment which you must get, no matter what does. And you know that how America has been insulted, integrated, and thrown out of Afghanistan, thrown out of Vietnam. So how do you think is going to save you? How is NATO going to save you? NATO was with this man in Afghanistan. So the same fate you are going to have. And that traitor, that bloody another Muslim traitor, he should be just thrown out and humiliated. He can get out of Jordan, allowing the NATO headquarters there. Are you crazy? He can't be a Muslim. He has to be a kafir, an unbeliever, not even a hypocrite, a kafir, and who should be burned in the deepest pits of hell along with his children and Palestinian wife. And that menace you must get. There are few more. I don't want to name them, and they are all Arabs, and they should be done. And Sisi should go with you in the grave, the same grave, because money is his religion. Money is his, belief. You just give him few $100 and you buy his soul. So they are soulless, both. This so-called bloody British king who put these people, because they deceived and cheated, and they played a major role in the breakup of Ottoman Empire, and they were rewarded. They were all provinces of Ottoman Empire. There were no countries, neither Saudis nor these Jordanians. So I hope, God, this war will filter all these traitors, and people will spit on their graves, spit on them, and that's the punishment. They do the same thing on Natenyahu, the same thing on this war, whole war council, and irrespective of who they are and what they are. And I think the Israelis people should throw in them, and they should.
Of the Al-Qassam brigades and Muhammad al-Dif. But the main point that Netanyahu was trying to make here is that he cannot say with 100% certainty if Dif was killed in this attack. However, Netanyahu says that just the attempt sends a message to the world. He also pointed out that until all of the goals of the war are achieved, the fighting in Gaza will continue even if there is a ceasefire.
I will not step away a single inch from the proposal that was put forward by President Biden. We will not set any conditions. However, at the same time, we will not allow Hamas to move away from the proposal. Hamas has requested 29 changes to the proposal. However, I told them that I shall not allow even a single change. This proposal was blessed by President Biden, and I insisted on 4 conditions that are already mentioned in the proposal.
Now, the attack on al-Mawasi, he said he approved after getting information from Israeli security services about if there were any captives being held in that area. Israeli security services said no. Secondly, he wanted to know about the types of munitions that were used and about the collateral damage that would happen as a result. Israel typically uses this justification for the killing of Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, specifically for these last 9 months, saying that they are going to target Hamas officials or Hamas sites without giving the evidence or the proof. And then we see the reality on the ground of dozens, hundreds, and thousands of Palestinians who've been killed as a result of this Israeli policy. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu maintains that the ceasefire negotiations had started up again because of the increased military pressure by the army. But again, he says that the war will continue until he achieves what he calls an absolute.
claims and allegations, Netanyahu himself, he is not sure if he achieved the target of their attacks. But I can say that based on what Dr. Khalil Haya, he is the head of our negotiations team, in his interview with Al Jazeera Arabic, he confirmed that Mr. Muhammad, our brother, our leader, Muhammad al-Daif, is now hearing and witnessing Netanyahu press conference and laughing about these claims and allegations.
Okay, so after the Al-Mawasi attack then, sir, where does this leave the ceasefire negotiations as far as Hamas are concerned?
I think it is now known for everyone. Hamas, the mediators, most of the politicians, especially in the Western countries, the leaders, know that Netanyahu is planning every day how to sabotage any chance to reach a ceasefire. Exactly, if we can remember that on May 6th, when we have conveyed our message of acceptance to the brokered proposal by the mediators, on the same day he stormed Rafah and attacked Rafah and occupied Rafah crossing. The same attitude he has adopted every time when we near to reach a ceasefire. Either he is creating new ideas, new proposals, new thoughts, or he is...
But it was also directed at the United States, the Arab world, and in fact the world in general, that Israel has an obstinate, arrogant, and rather inhumane leader, a kind of a modern-day Mussolini. What we have today is a fascist leader in Israel who could kill some 100 people, including many children, and not even blink once. The capacity of this man to be so delusional as to think that he is basically winning or serving Israel's interests by killing more children, by creating all kinds of obstacles to a ceasefire, including piling up the road to a ceasefire with the bodies of Palestinian children. That kind of a leader, that kind of a delusional leader that remains to be unpopular in his own country, with over 75% of Israelis rejecting his mandate. This man is proving more and more to be inhumane, delusional, and ultimately foolish. But it also comes with arrogance, and the kind of arrogance where, he feels at ease, lying to his teeth with every statement he says. We need to know, at the end of the day, and that's the American needs to provide the answer. Do the Americans also agree with Netanyahu that there should be no end to the war? Is that what the American proposal is? That no end to the war? That Israel can continue to kill children each and every day? That, in fact, Netanyahu is sticking to every aspect of Biden's initiative with all these killings in Gaza? Is that what's going on? Aren't the Israelis creating new obstacles? So again, Netanyahu, the obstinate, the delusional, continues to lie to his teeth.
It was very telling, Marwan, that he made it very clear that he didn't share information on this particular attack on Al-Mawasi with the US for fear of leaks and Hamas hiding, as he said it, back in the tunnels. What does this really tell us about the trust deficit between Tel Aviv and Washington, D.C.?
There's no doubt that Netanyahu is trying to run the clock on Biden. And there's no doubt that Netanyahu is not listening to what the Americans are saying, and the Americans are not putting any pressure on the Netanyahu government. Already, President Biden lacks the political capital necessary to put pressure on Netanyahu. And as we know, and as we've heard from Netanyahu himself, he's preparing himself in a number of days on the 24th of July to address both houses of Congress. I think, if I'm not mistaken, for the fourth time. That will make him the first leader ever to address both houses of Congress. So a leader that is basically accused of war crimes, a war criminal, in fact, who the ICC is trying to, get him for his war crimes, is received in Washington with open arms. So you could say, or he could say, that he needed to do this secretly within Israel. But in the end of the day, there is some tension rising to the surface between Israel and the United States. We understand that the Biden administration, despite its unconditional support for genocide for some 7 months or more, it is now, more tuned to winding down the war, as it were. But not Netanyahu. Netanyahu has a personal ambition, has ideological ambition, political ambition to continue with the war. And as I said, he's just going to continue to pile up the road to a ceasefire with the bodies of Palestinian children. I mean, we need to think about that, Suhail, just for a moment here. While we're talking about all the complex political issues about ceasefire, the man just killed 100 people today. I mean, shouldn't that matter to the rest of the world? He claims to have done it in order to target this one man. But this is certainly a war crime. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
Well, if there isn't any doubt, perhaps in the mind of the Egyptians, they are mediators in all of this, Marwan. And, there are news wires dropping, as though there have been after that attack on al-Mawasi, saying that the Egyptians are putting the talks on hold, the mediation on hold, because, and we quote, Israel isn't serious.
It's more than, yes, it's absolutely true. It's not serious, but it's more dangerous, more reckless than that. Because you have a fascist government headed by a fascist Mussolini and the new Israeli Doce, right, or Buche, as it were, this Netanyahu fascist character, right, that is ready to kill not just tens of thousands, but judging from his sentiment about continuing an endless war, he wants to kill hundreds of thousands of people. He wants to ethnically cleanse Gaza. This is certainly not to the liking of the Egyptians, who are trying to work out some kind of a settlement on their border with Gaza, with Palestine. The Egyptians, who have had 45 years of a peace agreement with Israel, understand very well, and they are the moderate, right, in all of that, friends of the Americans, friends of Israel, and so on and so forth. And they're really getting all crazy with Netanyahu's recklessness and butchery in Gaza. And that's what it is. It's a one massacre after another. It's a total butchery that cannot be to the liking of any Arab leader. And it's really shameful, shameless for the Arab leaders, for the Palestinian leaders, to be silent while hundreds of people are getting killed every day, while children pile up the road to the so-called ceasefire.
We'll leave it there for the moment, Marwan. Mon Bashar there, our senior.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें।
לצערנו, ביממה האחרונה היה מקרה טרגי של פגיעה לא מכוונת של כוחותינו באנשים חפים מפשע ברצועת עזה. זה קורה במלחמה, אנחנו בודקים את זה עד תום, עומדים בקשר עם הממשלות ונעשה הכל כדי שהדבר הזה לא יישנה שוב.
उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर